Welcome, everybody, to episode 74 of Disney with the Ducks. Tonight, you've got me, John Kroll, and I've also got Kevin with us.
Hey, how's it going? It's really good to be back.
It's good to have you back, man. I'm glad you're feeling better enough to be able to join. And then we've also got Jeff with us tonight.
Hey, everybody.
All right. So before we get into our topic, we'll ask a question just to get to know each other and for our listeners to get to know us a little bit better. Tonight's question is, well, first, marathon training started about a week ago for those people running Walt Disney World Marathon in January of 2024. So this week's question has to do with running. And what is your favorite race shirt? I think all of us have done a lot of races, probably collected a lot of race shirts in a drawer somewhere. So out of those, what's your favorite one? And Kevin, what's your favorite?
So I'm actually wearing my favorite. This is my first Dopey challenge. It's from 2018. So it's whenever I finished my very first Dopey. It was, a big deal for me. I made it through the training, made it through all the races. It's also where I met the lizards. So that's kind of how my friendship with the lizards started. And, that was my first, not only Dopey. At the time, I thought it would have been my only one, but I enjoyed it so much I decided to do it 3 more times. So, but yeah, that's my favorite. This is the only one I got that is the I Did It shirt. So
Nice.
That's awesome. And it's got a lot of sentimental value too, then being your first Dopey. So that's awesome. All right, Jeff, what about you? What's your favorite?
I think my favorite one is my first marathon shirt for the Akron Marathon in 2019. It's not a shirt that I can currently wear, unfortunately. I've seen to grow out of that one, or it shrunk, one of the two. We'll go with it shrunk.
Jeff, I had the same problem. I think race shirts just shrink.
I think that's what happened.
All of mine from like 2018, 2019, 2020,
Right.
They don't fit anymore. It's weird.
Just in the closet, just something happens. The moisture, I don't know. But it's about 3 sizes smaller than it should be. But it's a good memory from my first marathon. It's a quarter zip, so it's a nice long sleeve quarter zip shirt. It's got the thumb holes, which I'm a little ADHD at times. So the thumb holes give me something to play with, like in my sleeves when stuff when I'm walking and everything. So, but it's a nice 3/4 zip. It doesn't have a whole bunch of advertising on the back of them. I don't like being a spokesperson for a bunch of different companies that I'm not familiar with. So I'll wear them, but this one has a lot less of that. So that's my favorite.
Cool. So my favorite is kind of like Kevin's. It's a sentimental pick. It was from Marathon 2022 at Disney. When I met all you guys, like I had met Jeff and Jody before, but Kevin, Gene, Lonnie, I met you guys really only virtually at that point. So it was cool to get to see everybody in person and just run the race, and it brings back such good memories. But another one I really like that I think Jody is going to give me all kind of stuff for saying this, but I love the Toledo shirt. The colors are horrible.
Scarlet and gray.
Yeah, the colors are horrible, but like something about the way it fits around my arms makes me feel like I have bigger arms than I do. So I feel like it's cut for a dad bod almost, because it's like tight in the arms and shoulders, but then it's loose around the gut.
Right.
So that one's really cool, but more again for sentimental reasons. It was such a fun race meeting all you guys for the first time, and that was when first time I'd met lizards in person.
Yeah, so I remember that one just the other day.
So the marathon shirt you're talking about, is that the one that they give you for the race, or is it the maroon one that you?
I like the maroon one better because the other one, I had the same issue Jeff did, where it just shrunk somehow in my drawer, several sizes. So the other one, I was smart enough to actually Jeff picked it up for me.
Yeah. I was smart enough to say, John, this isn't going to fit you. Get the bigger size. That wasn't you that's smart enough for that.
Yep, and that was the right decision because I would have got aggressive with it, had the extra large, and it wouldn't have fit. So the double X, perfect. So that's my favorite. Yeah. All right. And that's just, God, I can't wait to get back into running and race season coming up in the fall. I wish I was going to Disneyland with you guys for that, but it just wasn't going to work out this year. So hopefully in the future we can do, what is it? Dopey to Dumbo.
Oh, you guys are crazy for that.
Hey man, YOLO.
maybe Dumbo to
wine and dine.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Okay, that sounds good. Dopey seems like a lot, especially doing another race, 2 races the next weekend.
Right.
All right. So speaking of traveling, we're going to talk tonight about the Jeff and Riley daddy-daughter extravaganza of 2022. So you guys went down to Disney World for, I guess, why don't you just tell us about the trip, Jeff? How many days did you stay down there?
Originally, it's supposed to be flying in early morning on June 21st and then home on the 27th, really late. But that whole Disney math thing kind of worked out to where the hotel at All Star Sports was cheaper than the hotel at the airport for a Tuesday night. I could change my flights and save a couple bucks. So we ended up going down Tuesday night, super late, getting to the resort at All Star Sports about 1:30 in the morning on Wednesday morning, and then started the trip from there instead of getting up early on Wednesday morning and catching the flight down. So,
and part of the issue there is you have a group of enablers that as soon as you asked that question, every one of us was like, yeah, you should definitely go down Tuesday night.
Right.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's funny with that Disney math, how it always ends up in you being there longer than you originally planned.
Exactly. And we were planning to stay the night before at the airport. So it's not a whole lot of difference. It's just whether or not we go to bed late or we get up early. So as far as how it changed things, it wasn't much different.
Well,
So
to me,
how
it's
did you
nice
get
waking
from
up.
the airport?
What's that, Kevin? I'm sorry.
How'd you get from the airport?
We Ubered.
Uber. Okay.
Yep.
And it's always nice, like, so you took the Uber, so you didn't have to wait around at the airport for bags, and then you got to wake up in the morning and hit the ground running, right, at Disney, instead of then having to move all your stuff to Disney property and everything else.
Correct.
So you stayed at All-Star, Movies?
Sports. That's the first time we stayed at sports.
Okay.
That's another one that we marked off our list of resorts we haven't stayed at before. So we're just going to checklisting off as we go. And
so how was it? Like, your initial thoughts on the resort?
We were there for about 3.5 hours, so I can't give a really great review of it. But from what we saw, it was nice. We went straight to the room, had no problems there. The rooms were remodeled since COVID times, I'm guessing. So they were fine. Has a pull-down beds. Riley enjoys those. So it was fine. I had no problems. I would stay there again.
Have you been to the remodeled Pop rooms?
No, I've never stayed at Pop.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if they're similar because Pop it sounds similar.
Yeah.
So they have the pull-down Murphy bed.
Yep. And then
they have the hardwood quotations. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
And then lots of USB plugs and remodeled bathroom and shower and all that. Okay. Yep. That seems like pop rooms.
Yeah. It's similar to what All-Star Sports or All-Star Music and All-Star Movies was when we stayed there. So I assume most of the values are going to be fairly similar to what that was as they remodeled them.
And it is nice too that they're putting in, Kevin, you mentioned USB plugs. It seems like they're putting in a lot in the refurbished or remodeled rooms, which is great. Because, you travel with kids and you guys each have a phone and an iPad and a watch and everything else that has to be charged every night. So that's always good. All right. So you were waking up Wednesday morning then at All-Star Sports. Where did you go from there?
Ride set the alarm for 5:30 in the morning. So we get in at 1:30.
What is this, a race weekend? What are you guys doing over there?
She wanted to make sure we could still rope drop the Hollywood Studios. And we had to move resorts.
Okay.
So she sets the alarm for 5:30. We Ubered over to Saratoga Springs, which we've never stayed there before either. So we go over to Saratoga Springs. Our room was ready when we got there. They took us in a golf cart. Actually, it was raining in the morning, so they took us in a van over to our room with all of our luggage, took all our luggage up, we dropped it, and went straight to the Hollywood Studios.
So did you use points for Saratoga, right? Okay.
We did. Yep.
But not for All-Star.
Correct. Yeah, that was cash.
Sweet. So Saratoga Springs, what section did you stay in?
We were technically in the paddock area, but our room was closer to the Congress Park bus stop. I could see it as soon as we walk out, it was 100 yards. So we were kind of in between the two bus stops. In the morning, we would go to the paddock because it's the first bus stop, so it would be less busy and the bus would be less full by the time it got to Congress Park one, which is the next bus stop. So, and then on our way home, we get off at Congress Park and just walk back. So it worked out really good. We were close to the springs. It was nice.
Definitely. That is nice.
That's the neat thing, being right there, because you can just walk right over.
Yep. And we did.
Sweet. All right. So day one, you dropped off your stuff and then you went to Hollywood Studios?
Hollywood Studios. We got there in the morning. We weren't there quite for early magic hours. I think they opened at 8:30. We were there about 8:45 or so. So in the grand scheme of things, we did pretty good for changing resorts and getting in late and hitting the ball running.
That's really good.
Right?
Yeah. Yes, it's
Dang.
really good.
You know how the Positanos do vacations, John. I mean, we go. So
You go commando all the time, right?
exactly. But
Yeah. All right. So, what was Hollywood Studios like? What were you guys going there for? Were there certain rides you really had to get on?
first thing, talk maybe a little bit about the DAS system.
Oh yeah.
We
Yeah.
signed up for that. A lot of people were telling me that I should check into it. I didn't know if I qualify or not. Not something I've ever done before, so I really wasn't sure even how it worked. It saved our trip. The amount of benefit that I received from that, from just not having to stand in the queues and be able to just sit and wait on a bench, catch my breath, kind of just relax a little bit versus going through the standby line, it was hugely beneficial for us. So we went to guest services first. They asked me what causes your inability to stand waiting lines and things like that. We had a whole discussion about it. She goes, "Yep, no problem. You qualify. It's good for 60 days from the time they put it on my phone and got me set up." And they took my picture, explained how it worked, and we were just kind of off to the races from there. So
Nice. Well, and that's good because I mean that's something obviously with everything you've had going on. I'm sure it
Yeah.
had to help a ton and allow you to save some energy.
right.
And it's good that they allowed you to do it too with everything, going on. But was there any documentation required, or how did it work with
They just
talking to the lady?
asked why, and I explained what was going on in my situation, and they said, "Okay, yep, that's fine, no problem."
That's
So,
awesome that they
That's
did
great.
that though. Yeah.
Yep.
And
So
I was gonna say, hopefully, like they must not have too many people scamming the system. Then, if they're, pretty, I don't know what the right word is, lenient or not lenient, but accepting, I
Right.
guess. Right. So that's
I'm
awesome.
guessing they have certain like keywords they're looking for, that there's the reasons why you're doing it and just not trying. And it didn't save me time as far as waiting and standbys. It saved us the wait and standby. So if the waited post time was maybe 45 minutes, my return time would have been 40 minutes. And then I come in, I tap in. I have to be there. I have to ride any ride that it's on. So I have to tap in first. They check my picture. Then Riley taps in behind me, and then we walk through the fast pass queue. So it just kind of, it doesn't, I don't get to the front of the line on anything immediately. It just saves me standing in the standby line the whole time.
Yeah. So you were able to go sit and kind of save some of your
Correct.
energy and rest a little bit. Okay.
Exactly.
And they wouldn't allow you to do two rides like that at the same time.
No,
correct?
I have to tap in. And if it's a ride with double taps, you have to hit both of them before you can pick your next one.
Okay. That's awesome. Oh, do you do it through the app?
Yep. Yeah. You just do it right through the My Disney Experience.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, once they approve you and they set it up, there's
Yeah.
like a little window that pops up under the tip boards that you can set it up for.
Oh, good. So you don't have to walk all the way across the park to go to another ride. You can kind of tap in, go sit down on a bench somewhere.
Okay.
And
Yep.
So if you're, say, at Casey's and you want to ride Pirates,
Yep.
you can go on your phone and put in that you want to ride it. It'll tell you the standby time.
Yep. It'll
And
tell you
then
when.
you don't have to go tap in and then come back
Correct.
45 minutes after that.
Correct. It just tells me what time I can come back to ride the ride, and I can come back anytime after that. So if I'm sitting and I'm still need extra half hour, 45 minutes from that time, it's okay. There's one time where it was several hours afterwards that we went back and we tapped in and went through it. So I don't have that 1 hour window. It's whenever I feel up to going back, I can.
wow,
That's great.
that's really good. Yeah.
I think that's going to be helpful for people listening because I mean, everybody at some point is going to have a family member that is going to need to take advantage of that. And to hear that, I think that's really helpful to know
Yeah.
how that works.
Like I said, it wasn't something I wanted to do or planned to do. It's just something that we needed to do at the time, and it saved our trip. It really did. So
Yeah. And I think that's what it's for, right? People who want to come and enjoy the park, but physically you have something limiting you.
right.
And that's awesome that they accommodate.
Yep.
Well,
Sweet.
and people that are going through things like everybody else, that has similar things. I mean, that's great that Disney does that. I mean, I think everybody kind of understands whenever stuff like that is going
Right.
on.
All right. Well, that's good. So you got a good start. You got signed up for the DAS. Now, where did you do that? At the guest
Guest
service
services.
place right when you walk in?
Yep. Off
Okay.
to the left there. Any of the guest services will do it. So
Okay. Awesome. So then where'd you go from there?
that morning we rode Tower of Terror. We rode Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway. We rode Slinky Dog. We did Toy Story Mania. We had lunch.
Okay. So wait.
All that
Toy
before
Story
lunch?
Mania.
What's that?
That's a lot.
That's
It
a
is.
lot before lunch.
Wow. Okay, Toy Story Mania. Who won?
Oh, me for sure.
Really?
But the nice thing is Riley finally listened and did it my way so we could unlock all the hidden features in each of the scenes. So she knew about them before. She went on a tour with one of the VIP tour guides about a year and a half ago with my parents. So she knew some of the hidden things and I knew some of the hidden things. So we were able to work together and unlock some of the secret features behind, like the volcano exploding and the tank and the robot coming through. So that really helps your scores.
That's cool. But you beat her.
Oh
handily?
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
You play to
good.
win.
We don't want these kids thinking that they're going to win everything.
If there's a
right?
score to be kept, I'm playing to win.
Good. That's where you should be. All right. Just like oh man, on the Bluey episode where they do it blah blah blah's dad's way when they're playing Pass the Parcel, and he has you guys don't watch Bluey as much as me. Anyway, there's an episode where one of the dads is like, "No, we're not letting every kid win. We're going to do it the real way, like we did in the '80s." Anyway, okay, so that's a lot before lunch. Where'd you go for lunch? Because I like food and I want to hear about it.
We had a nice dinner planned, so we ate a quick lunch at Rosie's down by Tower of Terror. The little place off to the side there.
Yeah. Okay.
Riley likes it. They have chicken tenders and fries, and we split that, knowing that we got a big dinner coming up.
Ooh, what's
in the
dinner
evening.
plans?
Dinner plans was paddlefish over to Springs.
Oh, I've never been there. Okay, let's hear. How was it?
Paddlefish is great. That's one of our favorites. So I had shrimp and grits. Riley had a mahi mahi. We both had buttons on for the trip for the time. And Paddlefish brought her out a great big dessert for her birthday, like the full size, not like a little cupcake, but a full size dessert for her birthday. It was really good.
All right, so Paddlefish was really good, and that's at the Springs, so you guys could walk back right from that.
Correct.
What are some of the highlights from the evening at Hollywood Studios? Did you go to any of the shows or anything like that?
We did not. We actually bailed on the studios after that because we rode most of the rides we wanted to, and we ended up going over to Magic Kingdom. Rode a few rides over there. Another thing with the DAS is you can't start picking rides at a second park until you're actually inside the park. So this is similar to standby. If you can't be on a standby line until you're there, so once you're in the park is when you can start doing that.
Okay, and that makes sense.
Right.
So 2 o'clock, basically.
Correct. So we just kind of took it easy. We ended up getting the 10 o'clock or the 12 o'clock extended evening hours for deluxes on that night. So Rye thought for some reason we could make it till then, which is insane since we've been up since 1:30 in the morning in travel day.
Slept for 3 hours and then went over to a new resort. And then you went at the very beginning of the day, went all over Hollywood Studios, ate a bunch of chicken fingers.
Went to the Springs and then off to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
So how late did you make it?
We made it to about 10:45.
That's pretty good.
Right?
Yeah,
I thought we did well.
Right? Yeah.
That's really
so
good.
did you stop and watch Happily Ever After?
We watched it from Frontierland. We didn't want to fight the crowds, knowing that we'd have the dessert party coming up later in the trip. So we didn't fight the crowds too much. So we kind of watched it off to the side from Frontierland. And then we made our way over for our virtual queue for Tron that came available. That we got the 10 or the extended evening hour drop that came through. So we got to ride that first night.
Was this your guys' first time on Tron?
It was.
Okay. Would you and at night too?
Correct. Yeah.
That's a really, really cool ride at night.
It is.
All right. So what were your thoughts on it?
The ride vehicle is not the most comfortable. Just the angle that they kind of lay you at. And you would think that the metal handles that you're holding onto should have rubber grips. It's a little abrasive on the hands. And just like the angle where you're sitting was bad. But I like the ride. It's short. I wouldn't necessarily wait in a long virtual queue for it. But going through the fast pass lane, definitely took advantage of that. And it was fantastic. Of the two, I take Guardians over Tron for sure. But I enjoyed Tron.
Yeah, and it is weird because it's like almost like riding like a small motorcycle, right? Like a crotch rocket or whatever, where you're leaned forward and it's got a plate come down on your back and it locks your calves in. Right. So you're kind of leaned forward like you're riding a light cycle, like just how it looks on the movie. And then they lock in your calves and have a plate come down on your back. So I was a little claustrophobic the first time I rode it, but Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's such a fun ride.
It is.
It's so
Especially at
cool.
night. It's
Yeah.
really cool at night.
Does it push on your stomach and stuff whenever you're going?
I
It
didn't think
depends on
so.
how you position yourself when it locks in.
That's true. But yeah, I really think it's a smooth ride, and I didn't have any weird pains with the way they lock you in and all that kind of stuff. So, and I mean, I'm a pretty large fella, and I have massive calves, so I still fit.
Yep.
It's all the running. All right. So so then you guys walked, or you went to paddlefish, went back to the resort. How far of a walk was that? Is it like a 15-minute thing from Disney Springs to Saratoga?
Probably, yeah.
About where you were staying?
Somewhere, yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere in that
That's
ballpark.
not bad. I mean,
Oh,
that's
we got
less time.
cookies that day too. We went over and picked up our cookies.
At
Which,
Is it
yeah.
Saratoga? Is it behind the volcano?
If you're standing at the volcano and you're looking at the lake, it's off to the right-hand side.
Yeah,
So,
it looks. I wouldn't mind staying there.
we loved it. For the cost of points and the niceness of the rooms and everything. We were in a non-preferred room. I would stay there hands down of most resorts. The quality per point is great.
That's interesting. So I got to talk my family into this because they've always kind of been anti-Saratoga because of just the stigma around it or whatever, being low cost points and all that. But I've always loved that it's right next to Disney Springs. Plus, having to get a 9-bedroom, house on Disney property to ourselves it gets pricey points wise.
I'm sure.
So that'd be a great option. All right. So day 2 though, what's the plan for day 2?
Day 2, we're back at Magic Kingdom.
Okay, so you're going back to Magic Kingdom. You're going to get on some of the rides that you wanted to see. Is there anything you going in? So you'd already been on Tron, but was there anything going in that you're like, we have to get on this ride today?
We got a Tron virtual queue again. I think it was number 2. So we had a very early group, which meant we had to get moving faster than what we had anticipated. So we got over there just like 6 minutes to spare to check in for our time. There at Magic Kingdom, there's nothing that we really have to ride that makes or breaks our trip. We just kind of like being there and wandering around and doing the park and relaxing and enjoying Magic Kingdom. We rode Haunted Mansion, we ride Big Thunder, we ride the main rides and everything, but there's nothing we felt we had to do.
How crowded was it? Because this was when did you guys go? Mid-June?
Mid to end of June.
Okay.
Walking through wasn't bad. I honestly couldn't tell you what the lines were like because we never really paid attention to it. We just saw our return time for our rides, and it really took that stress off of us. So it's hard to say.
Return times like? Were they really long?
For most part, 45 minutes or less.
Okay.
A few of them that were a little longer. I think Rise of the Resistance was a little longer. Avatar might have been a little longer, but for the most part, they were 45 minutes or less.
It seems like when we went over spring break and it was really crowded and the lines were all still about the same, like 45 minutes or less, unless it was, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or something. But I think something Disney's doing seems to be helping their throughput on the rides. I don't know if it's better maintenance or if it's the new Lightning Lane system helping more than people want to admit, but something seems to be working because in the past lines were crazy long, even at, middle of the school year weeks. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So Magic Kingdom, what was your plan for the day? I know you mentioned a dessert party. Was that
was that
this
day?
night? Okay.
Yep, we did lunch at Skipper Canteen. We did an early lunch.
Had you been there before?
It's been a while, but yeah, we had been there, but we went there. Very good food. Okay. Yeah, we really enjoy it. Yep.
Oh, they gave you, what did you get one time? The drink swamp water or something where they lifted up the mat?
That was a long time ago that they mixed all the flavors and
you should have done that.
I don't think she's there anymore. I didn't see her. I was looking for the waitress.
Bummer. Okay, so great food though. What'd you get?
They had the steak. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a steak dinner over rice with like a glaze over top of it. It was very good. Thunderstorms came through in the afternoon. It's Florida, so we saw it coming. So we kind of bailed out on the park early, jumped on the monorail, and took that around to Epcot because we wanted to see into Moana. So if you ride the Epcot around, you can kind of look down, and that looks really neat. So we're excited for that to be opening up here soon.
So that's just a water feature you walk around, basically, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
But the theming looks really cool. So we rode that around. We went over back to Captain Cook's and just kind of hung out to Polly till the storms passed, and we went back into Magic Kingdom for the evening to get ready for the dessert party.
See, I'm telling you, Polly is the perfect place to take a little break during the day. Just kind of go over there, have a lapu lapu or two, and do some shopping in the boutique.
Right? It's fantastic. You can't beat that.
It's a great place to hang out.
Yeah, and they got those Thai meatballs at Captain Cook's.
Right?
Sushi stand. Oh, Jeff, you're making me want to book a trip down there now. Too bad I have no points for 2 more years.
Right?
Oh, man. Okay, so you guys hung out at the Poly for a while, waited out the rain and stuff.
Right.
Then what? Did you took the monorail back to Magic Kingdom?
We took the monorail back over to Magic Kingdom. And then just kind of took it easy for a while, wandered around. I think we rode a few more rides before, and then we just went and sat and checked in for the dessert party. We had the after fireworks desserts, so we checked in for that, and then just went over and sat in the hub. They have like the zoned off hub grass area for the dessert party. We just sat there for a couple hours watching people and relaxing and visiting with people around us. So
that's a good place to hang out.
Yeah.
That is clutch for the fireworks. Being able to stretch out and sit down, and I mean, that's very nice.
That was money well spent for me. Just so I don't have to worry about sticking out a spot or anything. I can sit there. I know I have a guaranteed spot. I can relax. I can stretch out. I don't have to worry about it. And then I can come and go as I needed to and still be okay there. So,
and to me, like, honestly, it's even without the dessert portion or the beer and wine part, it's worth it just to pay to have the spot.
Exactly.
I love that show, and I don't want to, be stressed and missing it and everything. So I'm always in favor of those.
And the view from where you're standing for that's fantastic.
Oh yeah, you can't really beat that.
Right in the best spot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what? Honestly, I thought they were going to overcrowd it and sell more tickets, but no, there's a lot of open space.
Yep.
I mean, me and my family, we get those desserts and stuff as long as we can and kind of swoop in, 15 minutes before the show starts, and we always find a spot somewhere in there. So it's pretty sweet.
I guess 2 years ago with the lizards, and I mean, we pretty much took over the whole thing. And I mean, there were so many of us, but we had so much room just to spread out and do whatever,
Yeah.
We figured that after desserts was the better path. So after fireworks, we walked over, we sat down, watched people exiting the park en masse, and we could just kind of sit there and have our desserts until the crowds cleared. And then we just made our way out. It was a lot less stressful that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that dessert party, I think I've never done the after one, but I mean, I assume the desserts and everything are the same, but it's nice because now that it comes with beer and wine, you can have a couple glasses of wine. They have a lot of fruit options if you're really not into the sugar and all the baked goods and everything, but they have a really good selection of different things that you can try. So it's nice. Awesome. So how long did you stay there? Because the park, what time?
Fireworks were at like 9:30ish.
Okay, so it's probably 11 or so when you're
10:30, quarter 11 before we started making our way out.
Leaving. Okay. Yep. And what time was the park closing that night?
I think 10 or maybe 11, something.
Okay. So you were pretty much there either to the end or
or close to. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. And then how did you get back to Saratoga? Did you bus or did you take the? Okay.
Yeah, we bused.
Okay. That's not too bad probably at that time of night, right? There's not a long
It wasn't bad. No, we never waited a terrible time for buses. It probably always seemed longer than it did, but it was never bad.
So the whole trip, did you take buses or did you take the minivan or a Lyft?
We Ubered a couple times because we went to other resorts, and it's a lot easier from resort to Uber than it is to bus to a park and then go somewhere else. So, but for the most part, we bused if we were going to parks or back.
Okay, that's good. It's probably the easiest way too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so then we're coming up on day 3. So this is Friday then of that week. What was the park plan for Friday?
Friday was Epcot, it looks like.
Okay.
So
any fun meals planned for that day?
We did. What did we do that day? We did Garden Grill.
Okay, so, and you guys love that one, right?
We do. Yeah.
Did you do it? What did you do it for breakfast or dinner?
No, we did lunch.
Oh, lunch.
Yep.
I guessed both of the wrong ones. So is that the same as it used to be? Now they have the characters and everything.
It is. Yep. There's no change to that. A lot of character time. Good meal. That's one of our favorites. We enjoy Garden Grill a lot.
And so that one rotates too, right?
It does. You can just look down over Living with the Land,
which is really cool because that's an awesome ride. So yeah, so that's a fun restaurant. What else? What other food did you guys have at Epcot? Was there like a festival or anything going on?
Flower and Garden's still going on, so we tried a couple different things through there. It's real hot walking around the parks, and when it's real hot like that, I don't tend to eat a whole lot when we're out and about. I'll sit down for a meal and be okay, but if I'm out in the heat, I just typically don't. We like the orange bird. We got the orange bird sipper. We collect the orange birds,
Yeah.
and it had like an orange creamsicle drink that we got on the side, so it didn't mess the orange bird up. But it tasted like the old push-ups, like when you were little that they used to have. That were wrapped in,
Yeah.
it was like a liquefied version of that, so that was really good. We had tempura shrimp that had an orange sesame sauce on it. That was really good. We picked up our Figment magnets for the AP pass holders, so that was fun. We're glad we got those. Road Guardians, Road Remy, Road Frozen. Chilled in the DVC lounge for a little bit and just kind of relaxed. And it was a good day at Epcot for sure.
Did you ride Figment? Journey
Absolutely.
Nice.
You can't go to Epcot
Without
and
me?
ride Figment. I thought of you the whole time though, John.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you did. I see what I mean to you. It's terrible. All right. So, what was your plan though for Epcot? Because I mean, a lot of it people go to walk around the countries, right? And
Right.
did you have like the energy to do that, or what was your plan?
We were starting to kind of wear out a little bit that day. We talked about staying and watching the fireworks at Epcot Forever that night because I really enjoy Epcot Forever. I love the old music. If you remember from a couple shows back, that's one of my most underrated attractions there. But we were pretty worn out from what we had walked already that day. So we decided to go back to the room for a little bit and just put our feet up and then make a decision on what was happening. And as we're laying there, we took about a 2-hour nap. Ryan said she was hungry. We pulled up the phones just to see what dining was available. We found a GECO reservation for 9:30 that night. So I was like, well, why don't we try it and see? She looked at the menu. It wasn't, when you look at the menu, it's a little intimidating because of how everything's kind of laid out. I said, let's give it a chance. Let's see what it is. So we went over there, got some pictures, wandered around Jambo House. Actually ended up sitting in the bar instead of waiting for a reservation. And I had probably the best steak I've ever had on property. It was just a fantastic meal. And it's high on our list of restaurants we'll go back to now.
So it's a signature restaurant,
It is.
right? Okay. So it's not cheap. But was it worth the money you had to pay to eat there?
Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
What kind of steak did you get? What kind of cut?
It was a filet with mac and cheese and it was crusted like the bone marrow crust on top and drizzled like a chocolate wine drizzle, like reduction. Oh, it's so good. I don't know what half that stuff means. I'm a Midwestern, I go to Texas Roadhouse kind of guy.
Oh, that's a different level of steak at the Texas Roadhouse.
It very much so. So, but
You might,
it was fantastic.
You might as well go to the clearance section at your local grocer.
I know.
We could probably cut that before they sue us. Texas Roadhouse, you want to be a sponsor? You have delicious rolls.
Logan's Roadhouse.
Yeah.
But we were sitting there, and the waitress came over. The bartender that was serving us in the bar came over, and she goes, "Would you like a fresh towel to wipe your hands off before, like a warm towel?" I was like, "Okay." So we do that, and Riley's just sitting there. He goes, "I've never been to a restaurant where they do this before." She goes, "I feel so out of place." It's not what we're used to. We're not the signature meals people, but we'll definitely be back. That was a fantastic meal.
What did Riley get?
She had the same thing I did.
Oh, and she liked it just as much.
I was really disappointed in her because typically she's the type of kid where she'll order something and I'll eat mine and half of hers because she just doesn't eat the whole thing. And I look over and her steak was gone before mine. And
wow.
I was, come on, kid. You're killing my trip. I was really hoping I'd have half of yours. And
dads depend on their kids' leftovers. I mean,
exactly.
You didn't take the dad tax up front.
Keeps shrinking, you know.
That's it. It's the dad tax. It causes our shirts to shrink.
Exactly. But she just so disappointed in her. I thought I raised her better.
You got to take that up front, though. You know, I
didn't want her to be hungry if I took too much.
Cash
so
time
but there's always food left over, and just
it's just that good though, huh?
Was.
And this was late, so 9:30. Do you guys eat this late normally or no?
No.
Okay.
We're a 4:00 dinner family.
That's what I'm like. I was like thinking, wow, 9:30. That could be dinner number 2.
Right. It's like Hobbit time.
Oh man. But how was it though? Like that late? Was it because by the time you got out of there, it had to be 11, right? 10:30.
It was probably 10:30, quarter 11, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Service was fantastic. Our waitress or the bartender that served us in the bar area, she was very personable. She came over and talked to us. She was just fantastic. Just the whole experience was probably the best we had the whole week.
Wow.
That's awesome. Huh. Now I'm excited to try that.
Yeah.
All right. So, God, you guys got home late. What Saturday the 4th? What was your park plan? Or I'm sorry, the 4th day. What was your plan? Like, what park were you going to?
The next day it was back to Magic Kingdom because we were doing Keys to the Kingdom tour that morning.
Oh, I want to hear about this. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I can't tell you because there's spoilers, and so we're just going to say I did the tour and move on. I can't kill the tour for people. But
What?
it was. I know.
You're not going to tell us about it?
All right, I will. All right, you twisted my arm.
We can put a spoiler
Just give a
alert.
spoiler, and then they can come back and.
All right.
Yeah. If you don't know,
Spoiler.
want to know what's on the tour, don't listen.
Here's
to
your
the next.
warning. Spoiler, man.
Yeah.
It was very neat to do. We met at the town hall over where the Mickey is on the right hand side when you walk in, and there's probably about 10 or 20 of us in the group. They took us down Main Street. They showed us like different things with the windows. A lot of history on the tour. It wasn't just all behind the scenes. There's a lot of history of building the parks and Walt's history and some things that kind of went along with Disneyland. We went over to Adventureland. We rode the Jungle Cruise. They walked us right on to the Jungle Cruise. We didn't have to wait in line. They just, the next boat up, they put us on. And they didn't have a skipper doing the normal jokes and everything. It was our tour guide who was giving us history of the Jungle Cruise as they were going through.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
So we did that.
That's really cool.
We left that. We went over and sat over by Pirates for a while, and just a lot of more history and stories and things. Excuse me. We went out the back door or exit over by Tiana's place, then over by Splash, like where you exit for the races.
Yeah.
And we went across the tracks and down through there, where they store all the parade floats. And we got them. We watched them pull the parade floats out because they're getting ready for the 12 o'clock parade. So we got to watch them drag the parade floats out, and the characters were getting ready to board the floats and everything. So that was pretty neat. Lunch was Pecos Bills, which we don't really care for Pecos Bills. So we went and got popcorn and chicken tenders at one of the other things and went in and ate. But lunch was provided at Pecos Bills had we wanted it. After that, we rode Haunted Mansion. They took us to the service quarters. So we kind of went in through the exit, and there's a door off to the left-hand side there that takes you through the back door and back onto the stretching room. So we did that. After Haunted Mansion, we went into the Utilidors underneath over by Friar's Nook. There's a little cast entrance there that we took that down through and went through the Utilidors. She said there's a lot of, if you have questions, there's on-stage questions and off-stage questions. So there's certain things that she might not be able to talk about when you're on stage in front of people, but when we're backstage, she can answer anything that we had basically question-wise in regards to it. So
wow, that's cool. How were the Utilidors? Was it like fun being down there?
That was like our highlight that we were looking forward to. And the tour guide said, all right, you guys ready to see this? And we said, yeah, we're all excited. And you go down there and she goes, so what'd you think? And everybody's like,
It's just a tunnel, right?
Right. And she goes, yeah, that was my thought too. She goes, like the first time I was down here, you're like, woohoo. But it's just long tunnels of people moving around the parks.
Yeah.
And it's neat to do that you've been in there and that you've been underground there on the ground level, but it's not like it's all backstage. So there's nothing special. There's nothing fancy. It's just, but it's neat to say you were in those.
Yeah.
It's just so cool though that they built the park up a whole 15 feet or 14 feet or whatever it is, you know,
Right.
and that's the park is actually the second story of
Right.
the structure. It's just, that's really cool to me.
Yep. So it was a really neat tour. And that was the main purpose basically of this trip, because Riley turned 16 the week before. She had to be 16 to be able to do the tour. She's been a Disney fan for years and understands like the hidden things. And when she did her VIP tour a couple years ago, like I said, like the guide was getting ready to tell her things and she was telling him the same things before he was like, so she knew a lot of the history and the details and the hidden secrets and things, but she didn't get to experience stuff like that. So they give us little pins that are keys, and it said keys to the kingdom on it that were special for the tour, for pin boards. And it was really neat. So
that's cool. How long was the tour?
About 5.5 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
That's long. I was thinking like 2 or 3 hours. That's cool. And you went on a couple rides.
Right.
Do they have that for any other parks, anything like that?
I think it's coming back more and more. But I don't know. I don't think it's quite to that level. I know Epcot used to have some, but I don't think that they're fully back yet. They have Behind the Scenes tour which is at Living with the Land. I think there's like some caring for elephants and things over at Epcot or at Animal Kingdom. So I think they do have some, but not quite like the Keys to the Kingdom.
And is that one that you have to book like several months in advance and it sells out quickly?
I would have. We were right on at 60 days. That's when you can book it. So right at 60 days, we booked it and we're ready to roll.
Sweet. All right. That's awesome. That's something I've always wanted to do, but yeah, it's impossible to do with my kids and everything. So who knows? Next time I go down for a race weekend, maybe talk some lizards into doing that with me. That's cool though. So would you do it again? Or is it something? Oh, okay.
Because I think each tour guide is going to give a little bit different story and a little bit different perspective of what you're looking at. So the general overall feel might be the same, but you're going to hear some different things, I think.
That's cool. Yeah. And it's kind of like the skippers on the Jungle Cruise, right? Everybody's got their own style and everything else. So, wow, that's fun. Okay. So that was a good day. Then after that, did you do anything else that night?
I crashed that afternoon. That was because it was one of those days where I couldn't control my pace or when I need to slow down or sit or stop because we had to stay with the crowd. And I powered through, but that was probably my hardest day on my feet and on my legs and wind and stuff trying to get through. So after that, we went back to the room, got a few hour nap. And then since we're staying at Saratoga, Riley's a big golf fan. She golfs for the high school team. We decided to go over to the clubhouse just to check out the merchandise and everything there. Because they have the Lake Buena Vista golf courses right there. So we did that. And then we went back over to Disney Springs for the evening because it was close by and we can just kind of do some things at our own pace there. We ended up getting some salt and straw ice cream, which is very good. We had dinner at Wine Bar George, which we really liked. And we picked up tickets for Cirque du Soleil for the next day. So,
ooh, that's fun. I'm excited to hear about that. But before that, though, I have a question about the Golf Pro Shop. So I've always, when we stay at the Poly, I always want to walk over to, what is it, Magnolia or something over there in Palm. But I just never do. Is it worth making a special trip to that store to get like a Mickey golf shirt?
If you like golf, it's got some neat things. We picked up a couple golf balls, a divot tool that has Donald on it and some markers. And it's good. Some of their stuff can be pretty pricey, obviously. But
oh, really? Yeah. Wait, Disney is expensive?
I know it's hard. It's hard to believe.
Mix it together, yeah.
That's a hot take,
right? Yeah. I know,
but no, that's all because that's the thing, right? Is like it's obviously if you don't like golf, it's not worth going to. But it takes a couple of hours out of your day by the time you walk over there, look around, walk back, all that kind of stuff or maybe an hour or whatever. But time's valuable at Disney.
It's probably about an hour for us because we were right there on the resort already, so we didn't have a whole lot to extra do.
Okay, so that's still though. I mean, that's an hour, or you could have been riding rides or anything else. But yeah, okay. So they have a lot of unique items then.
They did. They had club head covers. They had shirts. They had backpacks. They had duffel bags. They had anything you could think of. They were logoed with Disney stuff. So
cool. That sounds fun. You guys didn't play, right?
No,
didn't play either. Okay.
No, we had talked about it. But I just didn't think at this time that it's something I could handle and enjoy enough to make it worth their time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in late June in Florida, it would be pretty warm playing golf.
Right.
You might cook out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when you sit in the cart and just let Riley play.
Exactly.
All right. So then day 5, you're going to Cirque du Soleil?
That morning we were back.
This is the new show, right? That just started?
It is.
Okay. So what was that day like?
That morning, we went back to Epcot, rode Guardians again, just kind of wandered around. We didn't have anything we have to do. This trip was all kind of taking our own time. I mean, we still walked a lot, but it's more just about us kind of being there and enjoying it. We were both there a couple of times last year, so there's nothing that would force us that we had to do anything. Like I said, we rode Guardians, and then we left over for the Springs to watch Cirque du Soleil, and I think it was at 3:30. And by the time the show was over, we had enough time then to go back to Epcot, grab a drink, grab a snack, and get ready for Epcot Forever that night. So
cool. So Cirque du Soleil, that's like a couple hour show, right? It's
about 90 minutes.
Okay, hour and a half. So how was it worth? What did you think of it? Was it worth it?
They had a special on tickets, so we got discounted tickets for that day. The theater was about half full, so I'm guessing that's probably why their tickets were discounted. It was really neat. I've never seen anything like that before. of our generation of people, you guys remember on TV in the summer, they used to do the Circus of the Stars, where they had the people doing the different trapeze acts and things like that. It reminded me a lot of that. So it kind of brought some old memories back from there.
E.T. Barnum.
Right. But the whole time, I'm just kind of holding my breath because I'm nervous for the people doing what they're doing. And just like Riley's just like anxious the whole time, just waiting for somebody they're going to fall. Like they're doing jump ropes on the wheels of death as they're spinning, and just it's ridiculously crazy. But it was neat to see. It had a good story behind it. A little hard to follow for part of it, but the story was neat. The acrobatics were incredible. So it's not something necessarily I'd have to do again, but it's something we've wanted to do. We had the time. We made it work into the schedule this time.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's one of those things that it always looks like it would be so fun, and
you just don't want to take the time or the extra money to do it.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. But that's cool, and especially being on like a trip with just the two of you, stuff like that isn't quite as bad as if you're traveling with a bigger group or whatever. So that's awesome. All right, so then you went back to Epcot. So Epcot forever.
I love Epcot forever. I wish that would be the permanent show there going forward.
So this is the kites and the jet skis, right?
Not anymore. They don't have the kites and jet skis anymore.
Oh,
just fireworks and the music. So
no jet, not even a single jet ski.
No jet skis. I'm sorry, John.
Well, that's a bummer. But the show itself, though, is good. Okay, and I haven't been to Epcot since they removed all the structure and everything of the Stargate. So the views have got to be way better now, right?
Yeah, they still have a crane out there. They're still kind of dismantling things here and there. But yeah, it's a lot better than what it was last couple of years.
Okay. And I mean, I loved Harmonious, but yeah, during the day that was a very rough view. Because all you saw was the black metal and everything else.
Harmonious was a good show. I didn't think it fit in Epcot because it was all just straight IP from movies. And that's not Epcot to me. Epcot to me is more the innovation, is the just creative thinking. It's off the wall. It's not, you don't need the movies there to make it work. And the fact that the Epcot Forever has all that old music from 80s, from Horizons, from Journey into Imagination, from Soarin', it has all that great music. And I prefer that to the movie IP. We'll go see that at Fantasmic or at Happily Ever After.
Okay, that's fair. I have not seen Epcot Forever, so I should look it up on YouTube. I'm sure I've watched it at some point, but
you would like it.
Okay, I'll try to get there. Maybe Jeff, we can go on a research trip. We'll just do the three of us, and since the others aren't here, they couldn't sign up in time by the deadline, which is 9:56 p.m. Tonight. And you have to sign up verbally, which we just did. But no way, we should do that.
We could all ride Figment and go watch Epcot Forever.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's the perfect couple of days. No, so that sounds fun. So okay, so we're up to Sunday, which is the 6th day. After Epcot Forever on Monday, is that when you guys are coming home?
We came home on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So still had Monday then to do. Did you go back to parks again?
Monday, I think we went back to. Monday was back to Magic Kingdom, and we did Tron again, and just went through. We rode Dumbo, some of the other rides we don't typically do, and just kind of took our.
Sorry, you were at Magic Kingdom a lot.
Well, we wanted to go for the Tron virtual queues as much as we could, since that was the one ride that was new since we've been there.
Okay, that's a good idea. But yeah, that's awesome. Magic Kingdom though is really, it's just quintessential Disney.
Yep.
Any fun meals that day?
That day we ended up leaving around noon. We caught a bus to the Riviera, rode a Skyliner over to the studios. We rode Rise of Resistance, Tower of Terror, went on the railway, did some shopping, and then we went back to the room. So we kind of parked up a little bit that day, and we ended up taking an Uber over to French Quarter because we were so close to French Quarter and they had beignets. So we had to make sure we made time for that. So that was on Monday.
Yeah, those are always worth a trip. No matter where you're staying on property, to get over to French Quarter, because those things are delicious.
Right?
Oh man, dude, you did a lot that day.
We did. It was a big day.
That's crazy. That's really fun though. So then after that was you went back to the hotel, and that's basically the end, right?
Right. We were going to do, instead of Fantasmic, we did we didn't get to see Fantasmic this trip, but we packed up and we we were pretty tired, so we figured it was
Yeah.
a little bit more relaxing to go over to French Quarter than it would have been to try to stay and fight Phantasmic Crowds and then make our way back. We had to pack the room, and
Yeah. Get a lot of stuff, to get ready
Right.
for the morning. One of the things I wanted to ask about Saratoga is the pool situation. How did you guys check out the pools at all while you were there?
we took suits. We walked past. There's 2 main pools with slides and a couple quiet pools throughout some of the area. We saw them. We never went in any of them.
Did they look like they would be a fun?
They did.
Okay.
They did. Yep.
Hmm.
We had intended to do it and go back and relax. It's just once you get there, you get excited and the adrenaline takes over and the commando kicks in and away you go.
And I know you guys ate a lot of meals at other parks and other resorts and stuff, but did you eat at the quick service place or any of the restaurants at Saratoga?
We did not.
Oh, okay.
No.
So you check that out. And then with it being such a big resort, like how was it just getting around? Because I know that's one of the things a lot of people have concerns about, right? Is it's just huge for a deluxe.
It's got 5 bus stops inside it. Like I said, we were in between bus stops 3 and 4, and we never had a problem with the buses. I think it was fine. That was always a big fear of ours, staying at resorts that have the internal bus loops.
Yeah.
But it was fine for us. Like I said, we would definitely stay there again. It's
Did you
high-
take any of the internal buses or anything? Do they have those going from like one end to the other of the resort?
They do to go out to the treehouse villas. They have a transfer to go out to there. But once the bus comes in, it stops. It just makes the loop and goes right back out. So
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, gosh, you guys did a lot on that trip. Holy moly. So this was Riley's 16th birthday celebration, right?
oh, we have our Tuesday still too.
Oh, you did stuff on Tuesday before heading
Yeah.
home?
We didn't fly out
good.
till 10 o'clock Tuesday night. So
Oh,
yeah,
well,
so
okay. So what happened Tuesday?
Tuesday we went to Animal Kingdom. We rode Dinosaur. Riley rode Everest, I think 5 times before 9 o'clock. I tapped out after 2.
Wow.
And then so she just kept walking through and riding it. She would have kept going except for it went down after her 5th time. Actually, as she was getting on her 5th time, she had to get off the ride while they ran a couple trains through, and then they got back on. So we rode Flight of Passage. We had lunch at Satuli, or she had lunch at Satuli while I was waiting for Nomad Lounge to open. We rope dropped Nomad Lounge. I had lunch there. We rode the safari. We went out to the animation station to draw Judy Hopps. Yeah, it was a good day at Animal Kingdom.
Was there no lines or anything? How did she ride Everest so many times before?
Everest had, because we were there for the early magic hour or the extra morning magic hours, and there was no line there at all whenever we went through. That as fast as she could walk the queue, she got through. And then the next to last time she was getting ready to, the single rider was open. And since I'm not riding, she just went straight through the single rider and right on. So she ended up riding it 6 times before we left.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So,
man, that sounds like you guys really pack things in. I'm really impressed. And you go right up until the minute you leave for the airport.
Right.
So how did that process work? I mean, did you check you can't check your bags at the hotel anymore, can you?
No, we dropped them at Bell Services before they came over to the room. We called Bell Services. They came over to the room and said, "Do you want a ride to the hall with us, or do you want to just us take the bags?" And I said, "Just take the bags." And we caught the bus to Animal Kingdom. So,
okay.
Yep.
Nice. And then everything went smooth coming back and getting everything. And
yep, no problem at all.
Okay. Sweet. So, what was your favorite day of the trip?
The Key State Kingdom tour. It was exhausting, but that was because that was the highlight of what we were going down for, really, and just watching Rye's excitement and going through there. We had a lot of fun with that.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like such a fun tour, and just a cool experience, I guess, in general. Right. Especially something special with Riley and you. That's awesome. God. Okay, so anything else you want to share about the trip? Insights, things that maybe were different than past trips?
Just the one thing we did, the cast members were above and beyond fantastic with us. Like I said, we had buttons on through the time. In the past, we've been acknowledged with buttons and they say hi or congratulations or happy birthdays, but we have never had cast members over the top like they were on this trip. And it really made us feel special. And some of that magic seems to be coming back more. And it wasn't just us. I saw cast members doing it for a lot of people down there this whole trip. So I think that kind of stuff, it's not expected, but when things like that happen, it's really it's appreciated. So we got a lot of stuff there. I know we tried to pay it forward a little bit just because we had so much stuff that we tried to give magic to some of the other families and stuff walking through, or buy in random Mickey bars and give them to kids walking through or something like that. So we had a lot of fun trying to pay it forward since we were rewarded so much on our trips, and we had a good time with that.
That's fun. It's always nice too because people get so excited.
It is.
Yeah.
So
sweet. All right. And it seems like overall, I think cast members have been so amazing over the last, at least the last year or whatever, since we've been back to the parks.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it's
they
really
had a rough
cool.
run there for a while too, but I think they're starting to get some of their mojo and their pep back. And like I said,
we went in February and or March. It was like a world of difference from the last time we were there.
Yeah.
So yeah, something's going right over there.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, now that we've talked about your Disney trip, we got to make some people giggle. So
right.
Are you guys ready for Quacking Up with the Ducks?
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, Kevin, since you haven't been on in a little bit, you're starting to feel better. Let's have you go first.
Okay, so have you guys heard about the new pillows that have come out? They're corduroy.
Oh, really?
Corduroy pillows.
Wow.
They're making headlines everywhere.
Oh boy. Jeff.
When we were down there, and a lot of kids running around Disney and everything, and I saw an article came through on my Yahoo News. It says women shouldn't have kids after 36. 36 is a lot of children to have. You probably should stop.
Yeah. No, I know. I was on that track.
We're looking at you, John.
Yeah, you should stop. Yeah. You should not have any more after 36. Probably could even stop at like 34. Right? I mean,
it'd probably be okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to have 40. There's no reason to get to 40.
Right?
No.
When you can field 2 football teams, you got too many.
Wow. Speaking of kids, though, so all the stuff about the total solar eclipse going on, people are talking about that's coming up in the next year at some point.
Right.
So my son Caleb, he asked me, Dad, you know what a solar eclipse is, or a total solar eclipse is? I go, no, son. Get it? It took a minute. No, son.
That's actually coming right over Central Ohio.
Yeah, like hotels and stuff are already starting to sell out and everything.
Yep.
But yeah,
so 3 years or 5 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
In Nashville, it came right over Nashville.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'll be able to see this one, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's completely dark. All that, nighttime animals start making noise and really creepy.
That's crazy.
If you get a bed sheet and put it out on the ground, and you'll see like little sun snakes like
really
wiggling on the ground. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Huh.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like it would be such a cool thing to see, especially like as kind of a space nerd, and I like all
get some good glasses for sure.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, I thought that joke was hilarious. Thank you everybody for listening. It was nice to hear about Jeff and Riley's trip. If you guys have any questions about their trip or anything, reach out to Jeff on Facebook Messenger through our Disney with the Ducks Facebook group. Absolutely. So also, if you're not a member there, come join us. We just hit 400 members, so that's pretty exciting. So a lot of people in the community to talk Disney with and share some tips and advice and all kind of stuff with. And then after you do that, you should probably go over and give us a 5-star review because, we want to feel that love and feel good about ourselves. So plus it'll help other people find us, which
we need that ego boost more than anything, guys.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is, right? Come on. Like, yeah. So, give us 5 stars and like and subscribe to all of our social media pages and everything. And just Quaharini.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you.